Greetings everyone, I am Sushanth and I welcome you back to our exploration of the Indian nationalist movement. In the previous part, we delved into the early stirrings of national consciousness in India. Today, we journey further down this path, examining the key events and figures that shaped the struggle for freedom. This period witnessed the rise of new ideologies, the formation of powerful organizations, and a surge in mass participation. From the formation of the Muslim League to the impact of the Government of India Act of 1919, we'll analyze the turning points that defined this era. Our journey will also lead us to the rise of Mahatma Gandhi, the man who would become the soul of India's fight for independence. His philosophy of non-violent resistance, satyagraha, mobilized millions and shook the foundations of the British Empire. Join me as we uncover the complexities and triumphs of this pivotal chapter in India's history. And remember, this is not the end of our journey. Stay tuned for more videos in this series, where we will witness the final push towards independence. As the nationalist movement gained momentum, a parallel development began to take shape. The rise of communalism. In 1906, against the backdrop of growing anxieties among some Indian Muslims about their place in a future independent India, the All India Muslim League was founded in Dhaka. The League's initial aim was to safeguard the interests of Indian Muslims within the framework of British rule. They advocated for separate electorates for Muslims, ensuring their representation in legislative councils. This development marked a significant shift in the political landscape. While the Indian National Congress, founded in 1885, sought to unite Indians across religious lines, the emergence of the Muslim League signaled the growing divide between the two communities. The seeds of communalism, sown in these early years, would have far-reaching consequences for the future of India. The British government, in an attempt to appease the growing demands for self-rule, enacted the Indian Councils Act of 1909. This act, also known as the Morley-Minto Reforms, introduced some changes to the legislative councils. It increased the number of elected Indian members and granted them limited powers to discuss the budget and ask questions. However, these reforms fell short of fulfilling the nationalist aspirations for genuine self-governance. Amidst these developments, a remarkable event took place in 1916, the signing of the Lucknow Pact. This pact, signed between the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League, was a significant attempt to bridge the Hindu-Muslim divide. Both parties agreed on a set of demands for greater autonomy from the British, including increased representation in the legislative councils and the principle of self-rule. The Lucknow Pact, though short-lived, offered a glimmer of hope for a united India. The First World War, which erupted in 1914, had a profound impact on India. Indian soldiers fought bravely for the British Empire, fueling expectations of greater political rights upon their return. Against this backdrop, the Home Rule movement emerged, demanding self-governance within the British Empire. Two prominent figures spearheaded this movement, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Annie Besant. Tilak, a veteran nationalist leader, revived his Home Rule League in 1916, focusing his efforts on mobilizing the masses in Maharashtra. Annie Besant, an Irish theosophist who had made India her home, launched her own Home Rule League, garnering support from educated Indians across the country. The Home Rule movement played a crucial role in shaping public opinion and intensifying the demand for self-rule. In the aftermath of World War I, the British government introduced the Government of India Act of 1919, also known as the Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms. These reforms introduced a system of diarchy, granting limited autonomy to the provinces in certain areas. However, the reforms also retained significant control in the hands of the British administration, leaving Indian nationalists dissatisfied. The act also coincided with the passage of the repressive Rowlatt Act, which we will discuss in detail later. The period following World War I was marked by a combination of reforms and repression. While the British government made some concessions, they also tightened their grip on dissent. This duality would further inflame nationalist sentiments and set the stage for a new phase of struggle. In this chapter, we will summarize the key events and figures that played a crucial role in India's struggle for independence. The Simon Commission, appointed by the British government in 1927, faced widespread opposition in India as it did not include any Indian members. The protests against the Simon Commission were marked by significant events, including the brutal Lathi charge on Lala Lajpat Rai, which eventually led to his death. The demand for Purna Swaraj, or complete independence, was officially declared by the Indian National Congress in 1929. This was a pivotal moment, marking a shift from seeking dominion status within the British Empire to demanding full sovereignty. Gap 2S. This was followed by the civil disobedience movement, led by Mahatma Gandhi, which included the famous Dandi March in 1930 to protest the salt tax. Gandhi's march to the sea galvanized millions and became a symbol of non-violent resistance. Gap 2S. The Government of India. Act of 1935 introduced provincial autonomy but fell short of granting full independence. Despite this, it was a significant step towards self-governance and laid the groundwork for future political developments. Gap 2S. The Second World War intensified the demand for independence, with the Muslim League advocating for a separate nation, Pakistan. The Cripps Mission of 1942 failed to secure Indian support for the British war effort, leading to the Quit India movement, a mass protest demanding an end to British rule. Gap 2S. The Indian National Army, led by Subhash Chandra Bose, sought to overthrow British rule through armed struggle. Although ultimately unsuccessful, Bose's efforts inspired many and added another dimension to the independence movement. Gap 2S. The Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946 aimed to transfer power to Indian leaders, but failed to resolve communal tensions. The Direct Action Day called by the Muslim League in 1946 led to widespread violence, hastening the partition of India. Gap 2S. Finally, on August 15, 1947, India gained independence, but the subcontinent was divided into two nations, India and Pakistan, leading to mass migrations and communal violence. The joy of freedom was tempered by the sorrow of partition, a poignant reminder of the complex legacy of colonial rule. Gap 2S. As we reflect on this journey, we honor the countless individuals who sacrificed their lives and dreams for the cause of independence. Their legacy continues to inspire generations, reminding us that the struggle for justice and equality is an ongoing journey.